full face of nothing new. So stick around and we'll get into it in this Get Ready With Me. Welcome back, Awakening Beauties. Thanks so much for joining me. I just wanted to do a little video of using my favorite tried and true products. It's been 2 weeks since I've been able to film because I've been sick. You might be able to hear it from my voice. I had been talking about in that last video that I felt like I was going through some extreme fatigue. I'm still extremely fatigued, but my body ended up not being able to fight off whatever maybe it was fighting all that time, and I ended up getting sick. I'm on the road to recovery, fingers crossed. My whole office has been fighting off flus and colds for the past month. I guess it's just that time of year. So I just wanted to jump back into filming and do a little Get Ready With Me, maybe give you a little bit of a life update, but using all of my tried and true favorite products. If something happened where I lost all of my makeup, these are the things that I would go out and rebuy immediately because they are such staples in my makeup collection. Some of them are a little bit newer, but I'm loving them ever since I got them, so I'm going to use some of those products. So starting with, I've already done my skincare, but skin prep, I have 2 primers that I really like. I'm still trying to use up this Ulta Beauty Poreless Face Primer. They still have it, they just have it in new packaging. So I like this for places where you might be able to see my pores or some lines, like this line on my forehead. Look at that, it just like disappears when you put that on there. So I like to put this anywhere that I sort of have pores or a little texture. It just evens things out a little bit. But this e.l.f. Power Grip I also like, and where I like to use this, especially since I've been blowing my nose a lot, I've been using it when I went back to work around my nose, around this area, so that it can really hold that product. You know, we just need a little extra help holding the product on. So that's pretty much the areas of concern that I need a primer for. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and use this eyeshadow primer, Thank Me Later by Elizabeth Mott. This is a nice creamy eyeshadow primer. So tell me, how are you guys doing? I hope you are all healthy and not battling flus the way we are down here. It's so weird. It's like you would think that I would get sick in the dead of winter, even though I live in Florida and, we don't get very cold weather, but we get some cold weather. You would think that that would be the time of year, but it seems like in spring, when I think that I'm safe and I've turned the corner, this is when I tend to get sick. I'm trying to drink a lot of fluids. What I'm going to start with is I'm going to start with my eyeshadow, and I'm going to start with the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude palette. This is such a great palette. Like I said, this is a staple. If I didn't have this anymore, I would go out and rebuy it. I'm just starting with this color Fair, just to kind of give myself a wash of foundation for it to stick to. This is a palette that I turn to over and over when I'm getting ready. If I just need a little extra something, if I need a little like contour in my crease, or if I need a little shimmer topper, this is the palette I just turn to over and over. Now I'm gonna use the color Mesh. So yeah, I ended up going and performing in the show that I had mentioned in my last video. Well, I don't know what order these videos are going to go up because I'm planning to record a few videos this weekend. I'm talking about this video where I was exploring my fantasy self. So I went and I had a show. We had a really good show that night. And then the next morning, well, we only got like 4 hours of sleep because I had to get up and go with my husband about 90 minutes away to a paintball tournament that he was playing in. And my husband's been playing paintball for decades. he's been a competitive paintball player for a really long time. And I just never had the opportunity to go with him, because going to a paintball practice where he would go as often. I mean, sometimes he would drive 2.5, 3 hours away just to go for a practice. So he has to leave super early in the morning and doesn't get home until late at night. And on the weekends, because I work full time, I have a lot to do on the weekends, and spending a whole day to go to a paintball practice hasn't been like in the cards for me to do that. And he understands that. He's pretty understanding about that. And then if he goes to play in a tournament, sometimes they're like in our state, but he still has to go and is in a hotel with a bunch of guys, or they rent a house. And it's just like, I feel like I'm in the way because I'm not on the team, and you know, they're getting up early. They have to go to the event, and then they're outside all day, and it's a lot of times very hot outside. It's not a glamorous location. No matter how you look at it, it's never a glamorous, comfortable location that you're gonna be in. And then after, you know, when they're done for the day, they might go get something to eat, but then they have to come home, they have to wash all their gear. You know, they're very, very busy. It's like there's no downtime really. They're washing their gear, prepping, getting all their stuff ready for the next day, doing laundry, and then the next day it's the same thing all over again. For me to be there never seemed very convenient to me to be there. And other times he has to fly somewhere. So if he was gonna fly, then that would be 2 flights, and paying for someone to take care of Zoe, our dog, and you know, just that whole scenario. So it's sort of like this has been his lone venture, and I'm spending a lot of time explaining why I never saw him in person play paintball. There is some guilt there. There is some guilt. And so a few weeks ago, when he said there was going to be a tournament Easter weekend, basically, is what it turned out to be, because it was the day before Easter, and that it was only going to be an hour and a half away, and that he was going to drive to it in the morning, I was like, you know what? I'll go with you. Let me go with you. I can take a day off from filming or whatever else I have to do. So yeah, I went down there with him and got to see him play, and I'm trying to understand the game, and they're explaining things to me, and his team. They're such nice guys. What a nice group of men. And you know, through the years, I've met people now and then that he's been on a team with, to be there with his whole team, and just to see like how supportive they are of each other, and very like spiritual. They're the only team I saw like do a prayer before the event started. And they were just so connected, and they played awesome. They ended up winning that event. It was the first time that he's won first place with this team.
Once again, taking home another first place podium. Shout out to Rampage, taking home first place. All right.
So it was such an exciting day. Everybody was, of course, so happy because they won the event, which came with cash prizes and also bragging rights. So very simple look, very quick to do. I'm gonna go ahead and do my eyebrows, and I don't really have a favorite eyebrow pencil, but I like anything with a micro brow pen or pencil. That's kind of my jam. So yeah, that was a very fun day, and I know I was already probably starting to get sick because I was very, very tired, and ended up going to the car and taking a nap in the morning in between their games. But it was a fun day, and it was so funny to see, just you cannot avoid getting paint on you. Before they even started playing, I had splatters, little tiny splatters of paint all over me. I mean, it washes right out, it's water soluble. Definitely a messy sport. Hey guys, just really quick, something like 85% of you who are watching my videos are not subscribed. Maybe you think you're subscribed because I show up on your feed, but would you do me a favor and just check right now? And every person who subscribes and hit that notification bell, an angel gets their wings. I don't really know how that works. Nobody gave me the manual. Would you please check and make sure you're subscribed? And if you're liking this video, give it a like, give it a thumbs up. That really helps. Helps the algorithm, helps my videos get seen by more people. And I really appreciate that. So thanks so much, and back to the video. So I have another show tonight with this troupe that I'm in. We have one more show after this, and then we're taking a break for the summer, and we're not sure if we're going to be offered the same show schedule come fall, but we'll see. And we're getting better and better. Like I said before, I do have another channel, Robin Freebird, that I post all of those performances to. But tonight, I also am performing in the guest troupe, because every show we have a guest troupe. And so my other troupe, PYT, is performing. So it's going to be an hour and a half of straight performing. So I'm using my House Labs. This is a beautiful foundation that is medium coverage, totally buildable, just looks very skin-like, and it's got skin-caring ingredients in it. And it's like I've said before, I get a lot of compliments when I wear this foundation, which makes me wonder if my other foundations look really bad. If people are noticing when you're wearing this one, kind of makes me not ever want to wear any other of my other foundations. I do find that the sponge is pretty much the best way to work it in. So it was 2 days after that paintball event. Then on Monday I went to work, and then I wasn't feeling so good, and by Monday night I had a sore throat and was getting sick. And now we are a week and a half since then, and I still don't feel, I definitely don't feel, I don't even feel 50% pretty much of how I was back in the fall. I was feeling really good back in the fall, and I'm not even to what I would really be 50%. It's just gonna take time, but it is definitely good to like get yourself dressed and do some self-care, take care of yourself, do some skincare, do a little makeup. All of that kind of helps you, I think, mentally, just to feel a little bit better. I'm gonna take this Catrice under eye brightener, especially since my eyes are so blue right now from being sick. So that did a really nice job of canceling out some of that blue. Yeah, and I just wanted my makeup today, because I do have a performance in a few hours. I just wanted my makeup to look soft and natural and pretty, and just, I want to look healthy. You don't feel healthy, at least you can look healthy. I mean, it could certainly be worse. I am always grateful for my health when I come through a sickness, you know? So now I'm gonna take a glass of water. Probably should be conserving my energy. It is what it is. I'm gonna use the House Labs now that I've sort of fixed some of that discoloration. Just gonna take a dot, because you don't need that much. You can build it up, but sometimes it just goes on too heavy. Let's just get this in the corner. So like I said, we have one more show in 2 weeks, and then I have the summer off from performing, as far as I know. You know, something may come up before then, hopefully, because you like to stay sharp, you know. It's easier to stay in shape than to try to get in shape. I'm going to do a little bit of sculpting. It's nice when you're performing, when you're on stage, to have a little bit of sculpting. It does make a difference in the way your features show up. I've been putting the sculpting a little bit higher. I might have mentioned that in a previous video, because it will travel down a little bit. So trying to keep it a little bit higher, just to create like a little bit of a shadow, so that you look like you have more cheekbones than you do. For this, I'm using the Westman Atelier Face Trace in the color Biscuit. This is a really nice product, just very creamy, and it just blends beautifully. I'm going to do a little bronzing with the L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear Bronzer, just to give myself a little color. I'm pretty pale with this sick face. So some of the things that I have going on this summer that are pretty exciting, I'm not sure if I mentioned it or not. I'm going to Peru in June. I'm going to use the under eye brightener from Catrice to set my under eyes. So I'm really looking forward to that. I have a friend who owns a property in the jungle, and it's a nice way to reset. I'm hoping I feel back to that feel good again by the time I go. If I don't feel 100% by the time I go, I think I will. I have 4.5 weeks before I go. But basically fasting, you do eat, but it's a very limited little diet. You get like a little river fish that they catch in the morning, or you might get a little skinny jungle chicken, I call them. Yeah, they're not as big as the ones that we have here, but the fish is the best. And then you might have a little quinoa or rice or oatmeal. No sugar, no salt, no herbs, no spices. It's a very, very basic diet for 10 days. You just feel very like purified and cleansed by the end of it. You feel a little weak by the end of it too, but you've basically really like detoxed and working with various plant medicines that they have there. So I didn't mean to go in. I just sort of got carried away with this under eye brightener, brightening powder, but it's a really nice setting powder. It worked really good on the rest of my face. I'm gonna go ahead and do my eyes. I'm gonna do a little bit of a wing. And I really love this Judy Doll Slim Liquid Eyeliner. And this is the brown color. And to do a little wing, I wanna follow my eye shape here. And I kind of like to do the little wing on both sides to start with, so I can sort of get the same shape. But I really love how close you can get to the lash line and how thin of a line you can do. And if you want to build it up and make it a little thicker, you can. Something happened right here. My concealer lifted. So I'm gonna just go in and just try to put a little bit more in there. Yeah, and when you're sick, your skin gets kind of dry. So I've just been trying to make sure I'm keeping my skin hydrated and using my skincare. It's not fun. It's not fun being sick. But I just keep telling myself this too shall pass. Something to help with those little lines under your, everybody's got little lines under their eyes. I don't care who you are. So something that helps to disguise them is just to go with like this color mesh here and just do a little shadow under your eye. Just connect it to the corner there. That should also help to disguise something wonky that may be happening with your concealer. I'm gonna go ahead and set some of that. I found that, you know, doing a little setting spray in between steps also helps everything to just sort of mesh together. I've been really loving this Makeup by Mario Soft Pop Plumping Blush Veil. So I'm gonna use that today. I find it does have pretty good staying power, but I might go ahead and top it with a powder blush, actually a baked powder blush that I brought in here, just to give it a little extra staying power. But it's really beautiful and very natural. I don't want to deviate too far from this because this is just really pretty. It gives you glow without feeling shiny. It just looks sort of like radiant, like you're radiant. You have very healthy skin. But I am gonna take a little bit of this Milani Baked Blush in the color Dolce Pink, just to give it a little extra setting power so that it'll last up through the evening. And they're very similar colors, so it doesn't change the color of that Mario blush. It might be slightly warmer. Let me show you what they look like on the back of my hand. So you can barely tell the difference between them on the back of my hand. The Dolce Pink is maybe slightly warmer, and this is the Mario, but they just sort of blended together. And I think that looks really pretty because that's a very radiant blush. The Milani Fake Blush is very radiant as well. I am gonna take what's left on this foundation and just go sort of around the edges just to sort of blend it a little bit so that everything just melds very nicely together. One last pump of setting spray. I am gonna set a little bit, and I'm gonna use the Essence Flawless Skin Trio, which, I mean, this rivals so many of my expensive setting powders. This is just such a good setting powder. It does beautiful under the eyes. Gorgeous. Really, really gorgeous. It surprises me every time I use it. I'm like, how do they do this for like $4.99? For my tried and true mascara, it's got to be the Thrive. If I want something that I know is gonna last, not gonna flake, not gonna smudge, it's gonna lengthen and give volume to my lashes so that I look like I have just thick, beautiful, healthy lashes, it's always gonna be the Thrive. I need to get a new one because this one is probably expired. I just want to pull out all of my favorites and put on a very pretty face of makeup. Not go too bold, not too experimental, just like tried and true. And that was the brief of this video. This is a new product, okay? This is becoming a tried and true. And this is the Merit Lip Pencil in Coupe or Coupe, I don't know how you say it. But, you know, I've heard other people complain about the longevity of this, but I swear, I have tried this multiple times and it lasts for many hours. So I have no complaints. And I just love this color. It's just sort of a nude mauve, slightly mauve, but kind of nude pink. And I just let that set for a minute, just kind of dry down. I am going to cover my freckle. I'm going to take a little bit of what's left on my palette here and try to cover my freckle because it always looks like I've gone outside of my lip line. And then my favorite lip gloss of the moment, it's the Fenty lip gloss in Fussy. It smells very sweet and fruity. And it's just a high shine lip gloss. It's just perfect. All right, so this is my full face of nothing new. Just all of my favorites, my tried and trues, my holy grail products that really work for me, that make me feel very pretty and put together and make me look like I don't feel like crap. Even though I still kind of feel like crap. Well, that does it for me. I thank you so much for being with me today. And my alarm just went off and turned my camera off. So it must be 5 o'clock, which means I gotta start getting myself ready for my show. Anyways, thanks again for joining me. I really appreciate your time. And until next time, you know what? You're doing great.